I'm the campaigner with the Death Penalty Abolition Campaign. I work in Washington, D.C., and I don't live in Virginia, I live in Maryland, but I hope that's okay. I'm here, I guess, to talk about Reggie Clemons. Reggie Clemons is a case that y'all are, how many of y'all are familiar with this case already? So you know what that's all about. As you may know, let's see, it's been over 20 years since Reggie Clemons, since the crime, the deaths of the two girls happened in St. Louis, and really probably the worst part of this case, to start from the beginning, Julie and Robin Carey, we always like to talk about the victims first, plunged off a bridge into the Mississippi River on April 4th, 1991, like 21 years ago, and their deaths were tragic and horrible. The worst part about this case is their deaths may have been an accident. We don't even know what happened on that bridge. What we do know is that Reggie Clemons, Marlon Gray, and Antonio Richardson, three young black men, ended up being sentenced to death for their deaths on the testimony of their cousin Thomas Cummins, who at first told police that it was an accident, and then later said that these three guys did it. And on the day that Reggie Clemons was sentenced to death, Thomas Cummins received $150,000 from the city of St. Louis in a police brutality suit. That's the first sort of really red flag that there's something wrong with this case. What's interesting about that and really disturbing about that, of course, is that when Reggie Clemons was brought before a judge in 1993, his face was so bruised that the judge sent him to the emergency room, but he did not get any police brutality settlement. He got a death sentence instead. The Reggie Clemons case, these parts of it, other parts of it, show us what's wrong with the death penalty in this country, in Missouri, in Virginia, in Georgia, wherever we have the death penalty. The role of race, the role of police brutality, the role of prosecutorial misconduct, bad lawyers. Reggie was represented by a couple who had just divorced. One of them moved to California, and she was a tax lawyer anyway. So, and this is true of a lot of death penalty cases. Bad lawyers, bad prosecutors. So the important thing about working on the Reggie Clemons case, as it was with the Troy Davis case, how many of you all worked on, did you all work on the Troy Davis case last year? Yeah. Cases like this they get a lot of publicity, but they're not untypical. This kind of stuff happens everywhere. And it's important to work on these cases to show your campus, your community, to show everybody what the problems with the death penalty are and why we need to get rid of it finally and forever. And so I really encourage you all to not just sign a petition for Reggie Clemons, to get more involved in his case, to have events about his case. But the second thing to do, since you're not in Missouri or Virginia, is to really get involved here in Virginia as much as you can. There's a group here called Virginians Against the Death Penalty, or it might be Virginians for Alternatives. It's vadp.org. Go there, join them. They are the group that every year stops your state legislature from expanding the death penalty in Virginia. And they are the group that eventually is going to be doing what we're close to doing in Maryland and what was just done in Connecticut, which is abolish the death penalty in the state. So if you all can get involved locally now, say 5 years from now, being optimistic, maybe 10 years if we're not optimistic, Virginia will be voting to get rid of the death penalty the way we just saw in Connecticut. How many of you all saw the news, I mean, it's just Connecticut, about Connecticut's death penalty being abolished? Yeah, that's something that's been in the works. We have a volunteer up there who's been doing it for Amnesty since 2001. It's a long fight. It's a very rewarding fight when you win. And they won in Connecticut. We've had 5 states in 5 years abolish the death penalty after no states in about 30 years. We now have a third of the states in this country do not have the death penalty. Virginia now has I think 10 or 11 people on death row. It's a very small number. There hasn't been a death sentence in this state in 2 or 3 years. So you all are at a very important time in your state because attitudes are changing, behavior is changing. Maryland's going to abolish the death penalty next year. Your neighbors, North Carolina might do it pretty soon. So Virginia's going to be, everybody's going to be watching Virginia, and pretty soon Virginia's going to be doing that as well. So if we can just keep focusing on these cases like Reggie Clemons, save a few lives, and keep educating people about why we can live without the death penalty, why we're better off without the death penalty. We won't make these terrible mistakes. We won't execute an innocent person. If we can keep doing that over the next few years, we'll do it here in Virginia or wherever you all end up. The death penalty is going to be abolished in this country. Our projection, our optimistic projection, is the year 2025, but that's only 13 years away. So we need a lot of help from you guys to get that done in the next 13 years. So please get involved anywhere with Amnesty, but especially the death penalty is something you can do right in your own backyard, in your own state. You can do it while you're in high school. You can do it while you're in college. You can do it wherever you go in this country. I urge you to get involved because we're winning, we're making progress. We're going to save Reggie Clemons. We're going to abolish the death penalty in California this fall, in Maryland next year. We're going to do it in Virginia by, say, I don't know, the year 2017. We'll abolish the death penalty in Virginia in the year 2017. So everybody, please get involved and please do it. And thank you all for everything you've done. I know Amnesty is a lot more exciting than it was when I was in school. so thanks for everything y'all are doing, and keep up the great work.